Hello, everybody, and welcome inside Allegiant Stadium. I am Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on Sports Illustrated and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. Now, you can hear behind me, I'm sitting in a box in the press box looking out at the field in front of me. You're going to hear the music from the parties and all of that going on. Uh, Raiders lose tonight. That's 15-9 to the Atlanta Falcons. They now, fall to 2-12 with 3 games remaining. And I'll just tell you what, I don't see this team winning a game. Um, the Raiders came in with a game plan, wanting to feed Sincere McCormick, get the run game started, buy a little space for Desmond and get the ball down the field. Sincere McCormick went out early. The first 3 quarters, really, the offense was pretty anemic. It found some life, and the Raiders had a chance to win it in the fourth quarter, scrapping, fighting, crawling, like I've been telling you all along. And it just simply was not there. The Raiders did not have steam. I can tell you um, it was the first time all season after the game. Um, I was with AP and Desmond Ritter in the press room. Daryl Craig Harris and Ezekiel Trezevant were in the locker room, um, SI reporters, and it was a sense of not quit at all, but it was a sense of defeat. It was there, and it was frustration boiling over. Um, we're going to get into this as a complete recap of the game. We're going to get into it in a minute. One thing, and I understand, it's just about winning. There are no silver medals in the NFL. There are no silver linings in the NFL or second place participation trophies. But you can't deny it. And I said it after the game to AP last week at the owners' meetings. Mark Davis even mentioned this team is still fighting for AP, and they still are. Now, he disagrees with me a little bit. He does not think the team is fighting for him. He just thinks they're fighting in general. And I think he's being humble. They're fighting for him, but the Raiders are doing just that. They're just simply, with all of the losses, talking about injury losses and everything else, they just simply are not a good football team right now. With all of the guys out, Sincere McCormick was really showing something. I want to double check something real quick, but I think he had somewhere around 40 yards when he went out. Uh, McCormick had, I mean, uh, um, Ritter uh, had 28 yards of rushing. He was the leading rusher. Madison had 21, but when Sincere went out, he only had 8. It was just early, and it wasn't there. And when you practice all week and the game plan is, we're going to feed Sincere, then we're going to go with some play action, and you work all of that, then bam, he's out. It just changes the whole output of the game. I wanted to give you a couple of something I thought was very fascinating. Brock Bowers targeted 6 times, had 3 catches for 35 yards. And I asked, I think it was Desmond. I may have asked AP, but I just said, this is really the Falcons' only team that's really shut Brock down. What did they do? And once Sincere went down, you could tell all week the preparation had been Sincere, then work some play action with Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers and get the ball down the field with Jacoby. Michael Mayer had a pass down the sideline tonight. Early in the game, he just should have caught, just misplayed it. And we know he missed a lot of time this year. He missed a lot of time last year with injury, missed a lot of time this year dealing with personal issues, and perhaps it was timing. And then you got a quarterback that he's new, and there are timing issues and understanding where guys want the ball, don't want the ball. At this point, it is just not a good football team. That's not because there isn't talent. There is, but it's just not a good football team because of a cornucopia of reasons. You can't just put this on one issue. You go back to, I mean, look, let me give you another example. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Okay. You had Divine Diablo. Okay. He had 6 tackles. But there were 2 plays tonight where one play in particular, he has a guy behind the line of scrimmage. He runs up like a missile, throws his body, hits the man, knocks him back, but doesn't wrap up, doesn't tackle him, take him to the ground. The guy runs away and gets, positive yardage. Those are just blunders. And Nick Saban has said it before. I told you, he told me one time, if you are not coaching it, you're allowing it. We see that a lot with Diablo, where he likes to go up and make big hits, but he doesn't. I mean, he gets a lot of tackles, but he leaves a lot on the field too. Now, let me just say something. I really like Divine. This isn't pick on Divine night, but because it's consistently a pattern and consistently happens, according to Nick Saban, who, quite frankly, is a better coach than any coach in the Raider organization, they're allowing it. Everybody knows the respect I have for this staff. I'm not calling any of them out, but it's the reality. I plan to ask Patrick Graham about that this week, and just about those type of things. You see it, and at what point do you say, okay, we can't allow that? Tyree Wilson continues to come. There were some plays tonight with Kirk that he was altering the plays. Is he playing the way I expect him to play in 2 years? No. But he's getting better. He got another sack. Again, Tyree impacted some plays. There's a couple mistakes. There's one where I saw his foot was a little bit too far inside, lost his balance, needs to keep his feet square. But I'm telling you, Tyree Wilson, guy coming. But again, you saw that. You see Spills with a beautiful interception. You see defensive plays. Adam Butler continues to play phenomenal in a bad season. Just continues to play well. I don't think tonight, I mean, the defense, they held them to 15 points. And some of those points were off of Raider turnovers that gave them field position, that even if the Raiders stopped them, they're still going to get some points. I'm not pretending that the Raiders are the Eagles or the Bills or the Lions offense. I'm not pretending that. But still, it wasn't a game that they lost because the defense was there. It was just the offense could not get going. I'm going to tell you, I know this isn't going to be the popular opinion, but it's not why I do this. I thought Scott Turner at times called a very good game, but there were times I thought a little bit too conservative, but not much. Overall, I don't think this was a Scott Turner loss. I'm going to give you a couple examples. There was some plays there where Desmond's rolling and he tries to get a pass to a guy, but if he would have just looked at and gone on a little bit of progression, there was twice I saw Trey Tucker open downfield deep that just they didn't get the ball to him. I have said this to you multiple times after multiple games this year. The Raiders are a quarterback away. Now, away from what? Are they a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl? No. There are other needs in other areas. It's not just a quarterback, but they're a quarterback away from being competitive to be in the playoffs, which is step one. Okay. I'm again watching some of these young offensive linemen, Jordan Meredith, JPJ, Delmar, DJ Glaze, the Mule. These guys are coming. They're coming. I like it. And I do like it. I like to see where they're coming from. But overall tonight, I'm going to tell you what I told a security officer. I felt bad for Raider Nation tonight, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. I'm paid to be here. I'm not a fan. Now I care. I sincerely care. But I'm paid to be here. All the media were paid here to be here. All of the Raiders members of the organization, from Mark Davis on down to janitors, paid to be here. The popcorn salesman, paid to be here. Person running video cameras, paid to be here. The musicians, paid to be here. The ushers, paid to be here. The fans paid for this. And it's just not a good football team. It's very difficult. My buddy Mark Anderson, who writes for the AP, does a really good job for the AP. I sit next to him in the booth, and he said after the game, he goes, "This was like watching the Minnesota game last year. It was very difficult to watch." And especially if you're older like me and you remember what the Raiders used to be, this was very difficult to watch. Now, Ritter is young, but he has a bunch of reps in this league, but he's new with the team. You know, I understand they bring in Desmond. They're not putting him under center, which is the offense that they have. They're keeping him back in the gun because that's more his play set. But what I don't get is, if you're going to keep him in the gun, but your offense is a little bit different, why not go get a backup who stays under center like a Scott Bradley? Clearly, they thought Desmond was their best option. I liked him coming out of the gun. I like some of the runs. But remember to change that offense for him when they were still hoping Aiden O'Connell was going to play. Now, I told you, this morning he wasn't, but they were still hoping there was a chance he could play, and having to adjust the offense. I understand they think it gives them the best option, and they're still fighting and trying to win. But the recap is this team is not good, and for a lot of different reasons. The talent that's under contract is very good. But, I mean, how many more guys are they going to be down? But guys are still fighting. Guys are still scrapping. Guys are still crawling. And they're doing exactly what they do. But the frustration boiled over. I would encourage you to go listen to Desmond, watch Desmond, and especially watch AP. I apologize in advance about AP's language. But you know what? He was just being AP, which is genuine. Just being genuine. And he's very frustrated. It's the same story every single week. They just find a different way to lose. That's just not a good football team. And so I think there are some legitimate reasons why they're not a good football team. Legitimate reasons. But at the end of the day, they are what they are. You are what your record says you are. And right now they're 2-12. And they host the Jags in the Toilet Bowl here next Sunday. Then they go to New Orleans and then come back to finish the year against the Bolts. That's it. I think they very well could beat the Jags next week. I do believe that. But, man, they look like a defeated team. Not a quitting team, but one just like I'm going to explain it to you this way. Have you ever met somebody that if it wasn't for bad luck, they had no luck? Now, I don't believe in luck, but you know exactly what I mean when I say that. And I have a very good friend, and I call him Eeyore. In fact, I have a saying in my life: in a world of Eeyores, be a Tigger. Be somebody that looks at life with a glass half full. Well, I have this friend who's an Eeyore, and everything is negative. And anything that happens to him, if he won the lottery, he would complain that he had to pay taxes. And his team is a team of Tiggers. And tonight after the game, I saw some Eeyores. Some guys like, man, what's going to happen next? We finally get Sincere. He's injured. We get Aiden back. He can't play. And it just losing becomes contagious because your mind begins to say, okay, something good just happened. So what's going to happen bad next? Just what it is. And that's where this team is right now. It's just not a good football team. Back to the drawing board. What's next? They'll try to figure it out. Thanks, everybody. I greatly appreciate you watching tonight's complete recap. And from all of us to all of you, Merry Christmas. God bless you all. And man, Raiders, if you paid for this tonight, I'm sorry. Sorry. That was brutal. See you tomorrow.